Good evening. My name is Grace Figueroa. I'm the Vice President of the SPO SSO Union Local 1018. I'm also a Hartford parent. Although today I represent one of many moving components of the glue that wants to help make Hartford great again. As you all know, it's Women's History Month. I want to say thank you for doing all that you do because I know the journey wasn't at all easy to get to where you are. With that being said, I too am on a journey that is not easy at all. I say this because I'm in a place where I must trust others to provide safety to my children, but also win the trust of others to reassure them that I too will treat other children as if they were my own. I speak for all SSOs when I say we are the protectors, the peacekeepers, the therapists, the teachers, the mentors of the future successful leaders, the community activists, and the future superintendents, and the list just goes on. We're not taking away from any other position. However, I'm saying that we contribute to it. We wear many badges of honor, but with that comes sacrifice. Whether it is physical or emotional, like many men and women in other positions before us, certain aspects of a job requires dedication. Where is the incentive to keep us going forward? To continue to say the sacrifice is worth it. And as women, we know there is still this unspoken stigma that we must fight a little harder, that we must do a little harder and do a little bit more, just to prove that we are worthy. And yet, still we aren't recognized for our behind-the-scenes efforts. And yet, back in 2018, it stated in an article in the Hartford Courant, which I have a copy of, that Governor Malloy planned to help school security grants through a program that was adopted after the Sandy Hook massacre. These funds were distributed, so I asked the board, where have they gone? The community wants to know. The school safety officers haven't seen a raise since 2014. Yet the crime rate is only getting higher, and our fellow brothers and sisters are only getting hurt more and more in the process. When we took on this position, we knew we were going to be used. However, we are human. We know about the elementary and secondary school emergency relief funds, aka ESSER 2. My team has read the letter that was made public knowledge on the Connecticut.gov website granting each district a portion of those funds to help relieve some of those problems caused by the pandemic. Hartford received over $45 million. It also states, third bullet down under, state-level priorities titled School Safety and Social Emotional Well-Being of the Whole Student and of Our School Staff. And it says, there's an unprecedented level of stress on both students and staff members, which must be addressed, both through social and emotional support and also through continued emphasis and public health safety measures. One focus area should be an additional behavioral and mental health services delivered in person or via remote access, and social and emotional support mechanisms, so that these supports are available even for individuals who may have limited in-person access. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, David Velez, I'm passing my time to Grace, please. Thank you.
As continued, thank you. So that these supports are available even for individuals who may have limited in-person access. There should be more than just an EAP to our support staff and teachers to seek help or be able to decompress from having to deal with the constant traumas that become taxing to their mental health. It takes a certain kind of individual to do what we do. Strong-willed, strong-minded, compassion, firm stance along with integrity, all qualities that do not come easy and should be rewarded. Last year in February, the community questioned you all, why didn't a $133 million budget go towards safety and security after a stabbing that happened in one of our high schools? This was said by a parent. Now, despite my extensive background, I have to look at my children every morning and say goodbye, not knowing if I'll come back the same way I left them. They will come back the way I gave them, much like the sacrifices of a police officer. But at the end of the day, that's not our job title, nor do we get paid like one. Now, keep in mind, after being quarantined for almost a year, this was really a unique year. Students will come back with the same mindset. They won't be used to being in the classroom. They won't be used in the hallways. They won't be used in certain type of structure. And with our students being killed at a steady rate, how does the board propose to work with the unions in this city? How does the board propose to work with people on the ground who are your bridge to the community togetherness? That's my question I propose to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario Robles.
Good evening. Thank you for having me again. School Safety Officer Mario Robles, Union Secretary of the SPO Union Chapter 1018. First of all, I just want to make sure that I commend Grace for her awesome segment or session. Really hard to follow that. So just to give you a little insight and to follow in to a little bit of the experiences that SSO Figueroa just kind of gave you. In one high school alone, we redirected or reported, or both sometimes, over 10,000 students. We responded to over approximately 845 classroom policy violations. Sometimes, something as silly as a cell phone, sometimes as silly as the student refusing to stay in one seat. But nevertheless, when we got the call, we make our way over and address the issue. On top of that, at this particular high school, we also responded to 1,963 escorts. Sometimes it's bringing a parent over to the nurse's office so they can be reunited with their child who is sickly. Sometimes it's bringing one student who is a little bit directionally challenged and getting from one class to the other, either from the third floor to the first. Nevertheless, again, when it comes to getting that call, we respond and we make sure that they get to where they're going. And then we also received approximately 403 calls to assist, sometimes for a behavior tech, sometimes for a social worker, sometimes for a fellow SSO or administrator. And we'll continue doing so. This is data that I collected over time from the year of 2019 to 2020, which we know was a short year, ending in March. That brings me to the COVID relief funding. The state gave us approximately $130,000. I didn't find a category in here that specifically addressed school safety. I would imagine that we fell under the support staff, which we were given $135,000. We used $1,819 of that, 1%. 1% for a department or a budget that we're not even named in. 1% for men and women who continued to work 2 weeks after the shutdown in March and through the summer into the new school year with uncertainty. That's the question I have for you guys. Just where's the rest of the budget for the support staff? We only use 1% when we could easily use that for a lot more training and support that we're long overdue for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Michael Downs.
Evening, board members.